Hey, so it is I. Hello, how are you? I wanted to talk to you guys about the driving or dramatic question that's essential to have in your essays. Um, I'm noticing in the pieces that I'm reading that just about all of you are really having trouble trying to find that significant question that really is what holds the whole piece together. It's also where tension comes from, and it's also where you're going to find the meaning, the reason why we've journeyed into this piece with you. So, um, what many of you are writing are events. So you're retelling a particular thing that happened to you, and that event is not significant by the sheer act of the fact that it happened. It's your job to then convert that act to something that has meaning for a larger audience. That's where we go from just telling a story to your family or talking about something that matters to you, to your kids or your friends, and turning it into a piece that others who don't love you by the sheer fact of being in your family or being your spouse are going to care about. So the kiss of death is when a reader puts a piece down and is like, so what? Who cares? And readers are ruthless and they will ask this question subconsciously, they will ask it consciously. The effect is always the same. They'll put the piece down and go, eh. And they're not going to be inclined to pick up anything else that you have written. And you don't want to do that. You want to really respect the time that a reader is investing in your work. And that again connects back to, and this is true for both fiction and creative nonfiction, we need this question. And a question functions much like a thesis statement, as we've been working on for the memoir analysis. It holds everything together. It's the spine. It's what you're still trying to explore. So the word essay is derived from the French, and it means to try or to attempt, to question. So an essay is not an answer. An essay is an exploration of a question. So think about in your own work what the meaning of the particular event or events that you're writing about are. And then how are you, as the narrator, changed by what you're revealing to the reader? If you're just recounting an event, no matter how inherently bad or good or happy or terrible it might be, there is absolutely no meaning for the writer if you don't clue us in on why it is significant to you as the writer. Um, what happens often is that there is meaning for the writer, but the writer forgot to clue us in on what that meaning was, or even more likely, the writer's avoiding writing about the actual meaning of the piece because it's too painful, too dramatic, too horrible, too I'm not going to go there kind of a thing. This is one of the ways that you can really get a sense of what writing is doing for you on a personal level. Writing will knock at the door of what is unfinished for you. It will knock at the door of where you still have questions, where you still got unfinished business, unresolved issues. It's knocking and it's providing, like a magic carpet, it's providing a way for you to move through that. Life is not about solving things. There's not always an answer that fits every problem. We explore questions and then we reframe perspective to those questions. And that's the journey part of an essay or even a story. So when the writer forgets to clue us in on this question, forgets to give us this significance, this meaning, the reader is left with the so what question, which really means, why did you bring me into this piece at this time? Why do I care? And it's your job as the writer to build that bridge. So ask yourself in your pieces, what are you still curious about in the events that you've written about already? So in other words, why do you still carry this around with you? What is left unresolved? What is left unexamined? Don't play safe. Take risks. So another thing to ask yourself is, how is the narrator different? So how is the narrator changed by the events that you're revealing to us over the course of the essay? You might think of it as the journey of the essay, the trajectory, the movement, just like you would in a story. What is the journey that you're taking the reader on? If we're watching slides of a family vacation, we need to understand why and what we're going to take away from that. Otherwise, we're just going to be looking for a quick exit. So when you guys decide which piece you're going to work on for your revision, begin with trying to find that question. What is the journey? What is the movement of the essay? What is the path from one perspective to another? And if you can't find that question yet, that's fine. Keep digging until you do. The driving or the dramatic question functions the same in an essay as it does in a work of fiction. It unifies the piece and it helps provide the tension to pull the reader through to the other side. Tension in prose comes about from questions, not from answers. When the reader is curious, the piece starts to have energy. When the reader has nothing to wonder about because the narrator isn't wondering about anything or searching or moving, then the piece is going to fall flat. The question provides the fire. Without it, you can have lots of lovely moments, but they won't fuse together into something that's alive. The life comes from what you don't know, from what the journey of the piece gives to both you as the author and then to the reader. That's the gift that you're giving with this piece to the reader. What have you learned? What has changed? What's the shift in perspective from paragraph 1 to the final paragraph? What's the movement? So when you move toward revisions, think about how are these events significant? What is the meaning behind them? If they don't belong anymore, then they don't belong anymore. That's great. Writing takes many, many steps and many stages to actually get to the place where you have something of value and something that is actually alive. There's a lot of false starts that will happen, and that's just part of the process, so don't let that freak you out. But keep looking till you find that aha, that like, oh my God, I'm writing about that. And then go right to the heart of that. Don't analyze, don't over-explain, don't overthink. Feel. Put us into a scene with sensory language, with visceral detail, and allow us to experience that shift in perspective. That's where you build empathy. That's how you build a bridge. And that's how we use writing to build deeper and deeper connections between the reader and ourselves. So good luck as you move toward revision. Find the question. Find the question. What am I doing here? Why do these events matter? Why am I sharing them with my group? Why am I turning them in for a class? You know, and it's okay not to know when you start, but the journey of the piece provides that realization. Okay, so it's not about 2 + 2 = 4. It's about, oh, what is that 2? Oh, that 2 means, oh, it's actually a 3, and then the 3 becomes a 4, and then we move through with the narrator as they move deeper and deeper, as that narrator moves deeper and deeper inward to find out what that still burning, still unresolved piece is. We need that question, or else we just have a family slideshow. Don't do that. Find the question. The question provides the movement. The movement provides the connection.